Hey everyone, welcome to Stories in Soulworks and Substack. Uh, I'm your
Woohoo!
host, John Rinaldo, and I just want to say a huge thank you for joining us today. Whether you're
Yes.
tuning in live or watching this later, we're glad you're here. This podcast is about stories, honest conversations, the creative journeys that connects us one post, one chapter, and one soul at a time. Just a quick update here, or just a quick note. So all these podcasts are based on our own experience and stories. They meant to inspire you and understand reflection and all that kind of stuff. If something happens along the way and you feel like you need to, something resonates there, please feel free to go talk to a professional and consider go or a licensed person and talk to them. But today, Kaz, welcome. Kaz, my host. How are
Thank
you?
you.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Always happy to be here.
Okay.
Well, I have a lot of fun with you, John, and I've done podcasts before, and I can't say that about everybody. But yeah, I mean, John, I love the organic, how organic we are, and we didn't end up, unfortunately, our sweet guest, her child had the flu, and so she had to cancel. But that's okay because today, for John and me, it's a special day because you're Canadian American, right, John?
So they
Or
say.
you? So they say.
I'm
the
Canadian. I'm 100%
the
Canadian.
jury's out. Yeah, I'm actually in Canada. I'm a dual citizen. In the United States, I hold two passports. But
I
yes, I'm also Canadian.
Yeah, I am a dual citizenship. I
Okay.
became a American in 2000. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, it was 20 years before I did that.
Wow. But
Yeah.
congrats. Yeah. Well, today in Canada is a very special day. It is Canadian Thanksgiving, but also in Canada, it's known as Thanksgiving, just like Chinese food in China is just known as food. It's just known as Thanksgiving there. But you spent many Thanksgivings there, as did I. And there are a lot of similarities with the US Thanksgiving, but there are some differences in terms of how it came about and what is eaten there. And yeah, so we're going to talk about the history. I'm going to give you a little, hopefully not too dry history lesson. But what I'm excited about, because I love to eat. I don't know. I think John loves to eat too. He's
A little bit
Italian,
too
so
much.
so we're going to talk about what Canadians started out eating for this holiday and what we eat today.
Hmm.
But shall we go into history first, or would
Well,
you like to say something else?
no, let's dive in, man. Let's you
Okay.
you got the show. You're running it.
So
Let's go.
I got the show. Oh my gosh. Da, 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 da. So I've got a few notes because I don't want to get this wrong because I'm sure Canadians will be watching. So in English explorer Martin Frobisher in 1578, to celebrate making the passage over from England, he had this gratitude Thanksgiving big meal with whomever was with him. And what they ate for the first Thanksgiving in Canada was beef and mushy peas. So that's in 1578.
That's an English meal.
That's an English meal, right? So do you have English heritage too or French?
No, I'm 100% Italian.
Just 100% Italian. See, I'm English, Canadian, US. So in 1606 is when the French settled in Canada and in New France. And they started in, there was official recognition. That was kind of a more official recognition. And the French Canadians, sorry, they ate a dish called tourtière, which is minced pork or beef and potatoes. So
Mhm.
that sounds like just another pretty
I wonder,
hearty
did you
meal.
cover with I wonder if that was covered with like a pastry on that.
That sounds like because
Like a
French
meat
eat a lot
pie
of pastry.
almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was minced, so I can't. Yeah, it had to be in some sort of I mean, just in a dish, maybe. No, a covering because they had
Or a
flour
stew. I'm not
or a
100% sure.
stew. That's a good idea. But all I got was that it was minced pork or beef and potatoes called
Yeah.
tourtière. So yeah, it officially was recognized in Canada in 1879, in November of 1879. But then in 1957, it became the second Monday in October. It changed. So that's what it is today, where the US has the 4 weeks before Christmas,
And it
having
has
those
nothing to do with
two.
Columbus Day, though.
Sorry?
It has nothing to do with Columbus Day. Zero.
Nothing. Zero to do with Columbus Day. Canada celebrates it and celebrated it as the harvest. Oh, also the French in New France, they invited all the indigenous people in New France to join them, but in a celebration of the harvest and in gratitude. I love the idea of celebrating the harvest, but in November, that's hard to do. We're already here in cold weather. So yeah. Okay, modern celebrations. I mean, of course, Canadian football is part of modern celebrations,
Yeah, it's not
and
the NFL. It's called the Canadian Football League.
Canadian football.
And there's like
Yes,
only like 6 teams.
yeah. There's a whole Thanksgiving Day classic. Only six teams, right? Haven't they
No,
expanded yet? No, they haven't
no,
expanded.
they did that a few decades ago. They expanded it down into the United States, and it just
Right.
flopped majorly.
Well, that's
I
supposed
think
to
they're nine
happen with
teams.
the WNBA. The WNBA is supposed to be expanding into Toronto, so we'll see how
Mm.
that goes from instead of Canada to the US, US to Canada. But I think I want to talk about food. I don't know about you. I just ate. I spent.
Just to give the audience just a little bit of understanding what the difference between CFL and NFL. It's
Oh
field
yeah.
size and downs. Canada is like 3, the United States 4. The field is bigger in Canada,
Oh yeah.
but it's much smaller here in the United States. So yeah, but you got Doug Flutie was up there. He won
Oh,
several
that's right.
Grey Cups, and a couple other players came out of there. Then there was like Dwayne Johnson, which was playing in Calgary. He was known now as The Rock, the wrestler. Yeah,
He became Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Dwayne
yeah.
Johnson. So
Now he
yeah.
talks about that hard time there too, so that's an interesting story when he talks about that. But
Hmm.
anyways, just to give a little bit of contents on the field and things like that. So
That was news for me because I'm a hockey gal and a baseball gal.
well,
Go,
hockey, well,
go Blue Jays. Go Canucks.
old people adventure says more food,
More fun.
more
Okay,
about
well,
food.
I swear we'll
So
get to
I'm
the food.
sorry.
Well, this is the coolest thing though, being Canadian American. When
Yeah.
I was pregnant with my son, I went to a hockey game and it was Ducks and Canucks.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I got really lucky to see, and now my son's a hockey fan too, although he's quite grown. But yeah, okay. So who said Doug said food? Okay.
Yeah. More
So
food. More about
more
food.
food. I mean, they do turkey, but they also do, and we were talking about this before we came on, John, salmon, smoked salmon.
Mm.
I've had maple glazed salmon and smoked salmon. I love maple glazed salmon. They do maple glazed carrots. They do, we do. I'm say they do. Because I'm living in the States, I'm like they, and it's we,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
all, we're all a happy family. Um, Brussels sprouts and bacon and everything. I mean, I never loved that bacon in the green beans, bacon in the Brussels sprouts, bacon. Um, one bacon dish for me would be plenty. But okay, but we love pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah.
And in the States, the pumpkin pie can be quite sweet.
Yes.
In Canada, it's more savory, more spicy, more cinnamon, maybe nutmeg.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's it's served as a dessert, but it
Right.
also can be served with, your other side dishes or
I do want to
whatever.
I do want to touch about the salmon though. So what
Okay, yeah.
people don't understand what salmon is like in the West Coast. So being fortunate growing up and having friends in that in the in Nicholas or I can't pronounce it now.
Where?
I don't want to say that way, but the Aboriginals, I can't pronounce it.
The Aboriginals,
That's it.
the
The indigenous
indigenous,
goods. I
yeah.
can't even say that today. Like, holy smokes. So, anyways, we got friends there, and so we would go on the Fraser Valley, and if you go up the Fraser Valley, they would cast a net across the river. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, you have to understand this river is not just some type of little creek, and you just kind of like walk across. It's not. It's like like you actually
A
river
rushing
raft.
river. It's a
Yeah, it's a
rushing
rushing river, and you
river.
river raft down, and there's salmon going up, going down, and like we're talking about boulders, we're talking about crazy high
Whitewater.
white water. I think it was number 4 or 5 at times. And what they'll do is they'll throw a net right across the river, and as they cast it, they grab as much as they can, and then they haul it back in. And then what they dug a big, huge trench, and in that trench they put coals in there. They put a lot of fire and all that, and that's how they did. And by then they're butchering or fishing the fish on
You're filleting the fish,
the
yeah.
fish.
Hmm.
And what they'll do is they'll put it into the this pit, and in this pit they'll start putting leaves and things like that on top of it, and then they put more dirt, and that actually stays like 3 or 4 days. And as it sits there, it's just it's all Mother Nature type of taste. Like it has cedar, it has all this type of flavor that goes into it. And
Yeah.
we used to get, like my buddy used to get a bunch of it, and we would sit down and we just eat it like just like candy. And because he got it for, you know, the Aboriginals were able to get food for free, and he would share it with us all the time, and that's pretty cool. So with that said, he I it was like so many times I but during the holidays like this was the perfect time for that. So yeah.
Candied salmon is huge there, where the salmon is just candied by the maple syrup instead of it being, the maple syrup just cooking on top of it and maybe soaking in, but you get these little blocks
Yes.
of candied salmon.
Oh, they're great. Now,
So
if you
good.
get the package that's been shipped here, that's just not good.
Well, if
It's
you've
not the
never had
same.
it before, it's not the same, but I mean, you
No.
get an idea of what it tastes like. But fresh, if you're ever so fortunate to be up in BC, and well, I mean, Alaska does it too, but they don't do the can. I don't think they do a candied salmon. I don't know anyone, if anyone is on from Alaska, because I've been to Alaska for a salmon run, and it's crazy, unbelievable. Um, but I've not seen them netting the salmon. My husband said when he was younger, his family and he would go up and catch salmon in those giant nets. But once they were in there and the tide is going out, you better go grab your nets, because then the birds come and start pecking at the
Oh
salmon,
yeah.
and then the whole catch is ruined. So timing is everything.
Or a
Everything.
bear. Or a mountain
Yeah.
lion.
Oh, bear. Yeah. Right.
Or a
Right.
mountain lion.
Mountain
It all
lion,
depends where you're
bear,
at. Well, it depends. All depends
dinner.
where you're at. It all depends.
I Yeah, and I'm sure people have seen the footage of bears, right, maybe knee deep in water, just the salmon jumps and they just grab them and put them in their mouth and away they go, or they bite, grab them with their mouth and away they go. Yeah, that is being a salmon fisher person. That is a danger, are the bears and
Well,
mountain
yeah.
lions.
You had to carry. When you're up there by yourself, you had to carry. Yeah, you couldn't go on your own like that with some type.
No, in no forested place, especially with mums and babies. I remember going to Banff and that whole Banff at Jasper area,
Yeah.
and you go to the information, the moose are all walking through, the caribou are all walking through the little village, and the people at the information are, my son. We went when he was about 6 or 7, and they said, don't go on the trails, because it's dangerous, because moms are with their babies. I'm like, you, I didn't
Yeah.
even consider that at that,
Now, the cool thing about this during this period of time, if you travel, if you're into like I've been sharing a lot of pictures of the forest and the foliage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, those are so nice.
So in that region between the rock, like so, there's a coastal mountains. You got the Rockies, and they kind of
Yes.
join like this. And there is a train ride that goes from Vancouver up through the up the coastal mountains along the Rockies. So you kind of like in this valley, and you
Hmm.
go through this. That's probably the most beautiful scenic route you could ever do. And they have the skylights, so you can actually sit up there. And if you take the train, you get to see the stars, and sometimes you're able to see the northern lights if you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might get
Right
a
time of
glimpse of it.
year.
You might get a glimpse of it. But the beautiful part of it is that whole fall, Christmas time going up. It's really neat. And then when you get into Jasper, you do get a Jasper. And one of the cool things about that is the moose will come in and they'll just cover the train tracks, and you're sitting there for a
You're
couple
not
hours.
going anywhere
You're going because
because
those
they're
things are a
protected.
ton. They're like a
Well, they're
ton and a
huge.
half. They're
They're
tons.
huge and
Yeah.
they're protected. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like running
exactly.
into a car.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
with the train.
So
So
I don't
it's
mean to
damage.
spoil your food
No,
because
this is great. This is great. I love it.
Deborah's like saying you're making me so hungry. She's
Oh,
Canadian. She
yeah.
actually is from BC.
Oh, I lived in Vancouver. We both lived in Vancouver, and I spent a lot of time all over. But we used to drive to Alberta, and then a few years ago we went to Ainsworth, which is a hot mineral spa there. Canada has some really nice hot mineral water if you like mineral water.
Harrison
Really,
Springs. Harrison
Harrison
Springs.
Springs, Banff Hot Springs, Ainsworth, which is near Nelson.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't know this answer. Is Jasper still recovering from the fires? I don't remember.
I don't know. Maybe Deborah could answer
Yeah,
that. But I know that this summer there were fires even in the East Coast and the Maritimes. I was talking to people in Halifax and that area. I don't know if they hit Prince Edward Island, which I spent like 14 summers there, but I
no,
know they
the
were
I just got
in.
the answer. No, they don't.
Okay.
They're not fully recovered from the 2024
Oh
fire.
my gosh.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's
still
devastating.
fires every summer,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I remember being in Portland because I spent a few summers in Portland and driving from Portland to Vancouver to see friends and family. And a couple of summers, I either had to shorten my trip or, I was driving through a lot of smoke, Seattle area over the
Yeah.
border. I mean, all this, well, from California all the way up to BC and then okay, yeah, it's heartbreaking what's happening with all the fires. Okay, I guess maybe I need to
Yeah, I'm
get back.
showing the screens about the fires right now. Look at all that. That's just devastating. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad.
Well, well, let me get back to food
Okay.
because I mean it is sad. It's heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
we need to be educated about that and how to take care in the dry
Mhm.
months of, not sparking any fires even if you don't realize there are things you can do to accidentally spark fires. And when it says don't have outdoor fires, fire pits or whatever, please don't do that. Okay, food. So okay, I talked about the bacon and everything. um oh, and Canadians too. I don't know if you did this, instead of doing pies, do cakes and even donuts.
So when we used to have Thanksgiving, it usually be like lasagna,
Italian, of
Italian
course. That sounds
lasagna.
like the Feast of San Gennaro.
It was like a 7 meal course. Like 15, 20 people would show up, and there's like a 7 meal course. And like there were like we would have steak, meat, whatever, like sausages, all that. But for dessert, we would go to Bonton. Is it Bonton? Not Boot. No. There was an Italian bakery not too far on Victoria Drive or on Commercial Street,
Oh,
but I
oh yeah,
think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
now in Burnaby. And
Oh,
but we used to get the little pastries, like the Italian pastries. and the Italian cake, which had rum in it. It was a
Oh yeah.
Saint Lagostino cake, which had 3 or 4 layers of white cake or yellow cake, and then it was full of rum. Boston cream pie,
Why
like
are all
a
those kids
like
so
a
drunk? We don't know.
like a very creamy filling, and
Mm.
then the outside, and then you have little balls on top with the little cream. They taste like a Boston cream thing. So that was our dessert.
Ah.
Yeah, we didn't have pie. It was always cake and these little pastries. And boy, we just chew 'em. And then my mom would have cookies and baked goods and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was.
Talk about food coma for
Oh, it was
days.
huge. Oh, I could tell you this story. So my mom used to work for the University of British Columbia at one
Oh,
time,
okay.
and she worked at
UBC.
yeah, she worked at the student union build. Or no, it was a student union build, or it was like a master. It was a doctorate suite. One of the doctor.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember what it's
Mhm.
called. And she would actually invite kids over from the holidays because they weren't having holidays. So this random kid would show up, and I'm sitting right beside this kid. I have no clue what this is, and he's a foreigner.
How's it going?
He has no clue. Spoke very little English, and my mom just invited him and said, you need
Aw.
family, and then that was the whole thing. Yeah,
Aw. That's so sweet though.
yeah.
And,
Every holiday was a new adventure.
and students are so far. Yeah. Who's going to show up at dinner this year,
Yeah.
Mom? Oh
Well,
my gosh.
that's the story about Thanksgiving. It's about giving. It's about inviting.
Gratitude, sharing,
Yeah.
community, welcoming strangers into your
Yes.
home. I mean, what young person, what person in general, when they're away from home, they miss their family, the cooking, they're lonely, they're in a strange place. And if English isn't their first language, struggling with, I know when I'm out of the country and I speak a smattering of a few languages and I speak French
Yeah.
well, and I'm learning German, but then speaking a smattering of other languages, it really, when I was in Italy and I was really sick, using my broken Italian in the farmacia to get codeine cough syrup, and they told me they didn't do that. And meanwhile, I'm struggling and they're talking back to me in Italian. And finally, they gave me this non narcotic, which saved my life. But it's hard to communicate when you don't know the language, especially as a visitor. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
all seem, I always seemed to make it happen. Me, I smile all the time. Hello. You always learn hello, goodbye, thank you, you're welcome, yes, no, good. Especially in Chinese, because I find Chinese to be a difficult language, but I love the language. And as long as I learned xie, I was good. Thank you. Xie xie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, back to food. Um, so it says in the prairies and peaks that game meat and mushrooms were popular choices. I think game meat, talking about venison or boar or deer. Well, deer, that is venison. Bison, caribou,
Well, you had
elk,
moose, you had elk,
elk.
you
Yeah,
had geese, you had
that's foul though. Yeah, but still, yeah,
but
geese,
they would yeah, my
quail.
uncle would cook, he would make those. There was a bunch of stuff, you know,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we had a bunch of family members who were hunters as well. So we-
Ah, there you go. And it's interesting in the Maritimes, and for anyone not familiar with how Canada is broken up, the East Coast, all the way to Newfoundland, is known as the Maritimes. It's near the water, the ocean. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, Labrador, Newfoundland. So those are called the Maritimes, and they do sea cuterie, instead of charcuterie, which is the meats. It's seafood, lobster, mussels,
good food.
salmon. Good food. Good. Yeah, good food in the Maritimes for sure.
I don't know about
Yeah,
Toronto. Toronto has a weird mix of stuff going on there. Like if you go
I
to central Canada,
never, I lived right outside of Toronto for a little while in Etobicoke, and I don't recall anything out of the norm for Thanksgiving in the States. I found it more in BC and in Quebec and in the Maritimes
Well,
that it
Quebec
was
has its own traditions, definitely.
totally. Well, I told you about tourtière, but so we talked maple glaze everything, maple glazed carrots. People do honey glazed carrots. I guess in the States, maple glaze are really great too. Butter tarts, you talked about that.
Mm,
Sweet potato rolls. Did you ever do sweet potato rolls?
no, my mom
Yeah,
made home.
there's
She made homemade bread. It was yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh yum.
yeah. It
Anybody
was,
drooling yet? We have a whole audience of people going. You need to keep going or stop
no,
because
there was
I'm
a
getting
lot.
to.
It was like crazy. There was like every week we either had fresh bread pizza because when my mom made pizza,
Oh,
or made bread, she made pizza,
mm,
and it was the sourdough type, and but she would make sort of like a little bit of everything else, and yeah, she would do that. She would the pizzas were to die for
phenomenal.
because everybody would come over and just for because they knew when pizza day was, and then she'd
Oh,
make homemade sauce was on the next day, and then you got to remember like so when we grew up there was hockey night in Canada.
right.
It's not sort of like the same anymore where it was Wednesday nights and Saturday nights you would actually sit down and that's when you knew because as you get closer into the winter that's when she was making a lot of these great foods, these comfort foods, these warm foods, these
Warm food.
kind of like things that and also what one of the things I don't notice here, I'm in Pennsylvania, is the Indian summer. So when in Vancouver you get a good Indian summer, you can go all the way to
Is it
Christmas.
still called that though? Is it still
Well,
called Indian summer?
I don't is
Um,
it? I don't know.
I don't know. I think that might be a
Oh, is that wrong now to say?
indigenous summer or late summer. Yeah.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if we have any native
Oh,
indigenous people watching us. I would like you to
I'm
we
sorry
that's
if
a
I
good thing
offended
to
you. I'm
ask.
not trying to offend anybody. I was just
No,
using
no,
my
no, no, no.
yeah. Um,
Well, I wanted to ask, okay, Italian, Canadian Italian, mother makes pizza dough, deep dish, Sicilian, or the thin crust with the slices as big as your torso.
no, none of that.
None of that.
No, it's homemade.
I know, but I'm saying, would she make it
No,
deep
no, it's not
dish,
like no, it's not
thick
like you go to the rest.
Sicilian?
No, it's not go to a restaurant and you do it that. No,
You think
that's
that's
just
restaurant food?
that's restaurant food. No, she made actually legit pizza. You would
Square
sit
or
down.
round?
It was square, or she make it round. It all depends. She make a plain pizza with a little bit of like Parmigiano on it, and or she would
Mm.
actually make a pizza, and so she actually put pineapple on it because we like pineapple, and so she put pineapple. My
Well,
dad loved
the
egg. My dad
ham and
loved egg,
pineapple is Hawaiian. Ham and
and my
pineapple.
and my dad would love eggs, and she would put egg on the pizza.
Well, that's
So
new to me.
yeah, well now let's talk about the pizza. Hawaiian pizza was invented in Toronto in like the 1950s. Yeah,
What?
the
Why did they call
Hawaiian
it
pizza
Hawaiian? Because of the pineapple?
because of the pineapple. He just wanted to make something different. Now the cool thing about this was that if you go to Vancouver, like here in the States, they do pineapple and ham. That's all they do,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
In Vancouver, they'll do shrimp, pineapple, and ham. That's
Oh,
that's a Hawaiian pizza in Vancouver.
huh.
I know it sounds
Wow.
strange, but it tastes really good. Well, it tastes good when I was growing up. I don't know about now, but yeah,
Well, see, I'm one of the crazy ones. I love me some anchovies.
yeah,
I was raised in New York.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I love anchovies on my pizza. When I was in Germany, my girlfriend made me a pizza. It had Gouda cheese and tuna.
Oh wow.
It was good. It was super, super duper good. Anyway, we digress. Let's see. I think I'm wrapping it up here with the oh, so this is cool. Canadians in Newfoundland will also swap out their turkey for what's called Jig's dinner, and that is corned beef with boiled cabbage, peas, and root vegetables. That
Hmm.
sounds like that has an English influence too.
Oh, okay.
Boiled cabbage and corned beef.
Just to follow up on the Indian summer, it's now called the second summer.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. Thank you. That works.
Yeah.
That works.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
hard to do on, but okay.
yeah. But yeah, I think this whole corned beef and cabbage, which is usually eaten, is that eaten St. Patrick's Day or corned beef and
Corn?
cabbage? I think that's also eaten on St. Patrick's Day or another holiday for good luck. I should know because I have Irish
Is that
and Scottish in
Passover?
my blood. So no, 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 no. Um, Somebody will say, I do think that for good luck, it's boiled corned beef and cabbage on St.
Oh no,
Patrick's
that's on
Day.
New Year's Day.
Oh, is that New Year's Day? Okay,
I
I
think
get.
that's what it is. Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody, hopefully, somebody will chime in.
Yeah, it's
But
well,
yeah, so that's the history of Canadian Thanksgiving. As I said, also known as Thanksgiving in Canada. I made a huge meal, but I did stuffing because my son really loves that. And I made a chicken. I didn't make a turkey, and root vegetables and no dessert. I will eat a piece of chocolate, but yeah, that was it for me. But the one thing that both Canadian Thanksgiving and US Thanksgiving is the theme of da-da-da-da, gratitude.
uh,
And I know gratitude has become a big talking point as of late, gratitude journals and gratitude um, affirmations and all of that. I love talking about with people about their instances of when they experienced gratitude that someone had done something for them or something they had done for someone else and the other person was in so much gratitude for that. I just love, we're stories, soul work, story of the gratitude. Soul work, gratitude is a very soulful thing. So I'm wondering if anybody out there, now that we're off the food.
so one of the things I learned about gratitude is that well, now the meters are kind of going away, but um, you grab a handful of quarters. When you walk down the road or down the street, and you see a meter, just throw a bunch of throw
Oh,
coins in
yes.
to extend time. That's sort of the gratitude. Um,
I don't know where I was at one time that I was told that was illegal to do that. If somebody caught you, if a meter person caught you doing that, you'd get a ticket.
what?
I
Why?
was like, because it's not, the person who left their meter unattended or didn't put enough money in, it's their responsibility and they deserve the fine. But if you don't get caught, don't bother. But yeah, now it's all automated and you get a ticket and stick it in your window. Mostly,
Wow.
I don't see very many meters anymore. But the thing of, oh, people paying forward like somebody in front of a line, say at a grocery store or restaurant or whatever, and they pay for you. That happened to my husband. He was at a breakfast place on his own, and a big group came in and they were having a really good time. And the server was kind of snarky to them. And then I guess she didn't want to serve them. And another server came out who did great, but they didn't have enough chairs and their table wasn't big enough. So my husband said, hey, take my table and the chairs, it's just me, move them together, and I can move right over there. And don't you know, when he left to pay his bill, they had paid his bill. That's the generosity, as I say so often, of spirit, of people. I talk a lot about pay it forward. I've had people do incredible things for me, um, for my betterment and to further not only my education but my career. And I've said, what can I do for you? How may I thank you or pay you back? They said, pay it forward. That's the gratitude I want from you. I want to know that you pay it forward.
So there is a story that I came across, I think today or yesterday, I can't remember what it was. But there was a huge gathering of family, ended up in a restaurant, and they're sitting around, I think about 15 people or so, and they're hooting and hawing, and they're just having a good time. It's family, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're telling jokes, they're just having a good old time. And there was a couple next to them, and they kind of looked over a couple times, kind of looked like they were kind of like annoyed, and they kept, but they kind of like, then they kind of settled down because someone saw that was happening, so they kind of was
Mm.
conscious of the area, and they were like, hey guys, come on, let's settle down, we're more than just us here. So um as the night goes on, they keep hooting and hawing a little more, get a little more rowdier again, and they kind of calm down again and go back, like, so it's kind of like that evening almost. And they got to the point where the um someone's gonna have a birthday. So they came out with a big huge cake. Everybody kind of like, or it came out with whatever it was. And as they were celebrating, they were enjoying their stuff. And then as the lady and the gentleman that's sitting over there, the lady turned around and says, it's my husband's birthday too.
Oh,
So then they kind of like the family figured it out, and they sang happy birthday, celebrated and all that stuff. And one of them said, how about we do this next year, same time, same place? The husband said, I don't know if that's going to be possible.
oh boy.
So as they were kind of like, kind of getting together and all that, the family picked up the tab of the husband and wife,
The
right?
people at the other
Yeah.
table. Mm.
So they picked up the tab, and they kind of they started going up the door, and the lady told the couple, hey, they picked up the tab, you don't have to pay, you're good to go. And so as the mother, the wife, kind of just went, wow, that's cool. And then she went up to them and said, you don't know what that meant to my husband and I.
Mm.
And they're like, what? Yeah, no, not a problem, like, it's just a bill, right? And
And we
no,
bugged
no.
you all night.
Yeah, and they said, oh, no, 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 you don't understand, he just got he went to the doctors today, and he was told he had an ending, a,
Oh,
some type of, I don't know what it was, but like maybe cancer. It was just very terminal, like non-recovery, and they went for dinner just to keep them late. And their mood wasn't a reflection of them; it was really the reflection of what was going on in their space. So what
sure.
I say most of the time is, you really don't know what people are going through, even though you may
Mm-mm.
think they're upset with you and all that. Um, it's not about it, but what the family did was a lot more special. They could have, that could have completely turned upside down in a different direction. And what they did was, beautiful in its own way. So yeah,
Mm.
that's what happened there. So that's a story of gratitude. But I just think when you're walking in the season, what we have to be very conscious of, and if you could be, is that this is really a time that everybody's going through some struggles, especially when the winter kind of gets darker and everybody's kind of getting, kind of like, just be mindful that, your presence and how you interact with people is not because of you. It could be because of circumstances beyond you. I always tell my children that you only can control your sphere.
Yeah.
That's it. And your emotions, your all that, like how you react, is an issue. It could be an issue if you decide to react to it, but if you choose not to react to it and just sit there and listen to or seek to understand, I always like to say, then that
Hmm.
really helps you along the way. So yeah, that-
Yeah. And I'm sure everyone out there has heard this said and read this multiple times. You just never know what someone else is going through, experiencing, struggling with. Yeah. And I believe that gratitude is something to hold within you and to share all year long, just like love during the holiday, Christmas holiday season. um love is important to share and express and let people know that you care about them, because there are too many people who don't have much, are
Right.
alone, are unable to have a celebration, maybe don't have family, and all of that. So you never know what a kind word in the line at the grocery store or wherever you shop, um, just one kind word, a smile, what it can do for another person. I mean, sometimes these poor retail people get beaten up constantly, and instead of taking it personally that they grumble when you come up to the cash register, or they don't say hello, or they're snarky, I see it as a little bit of a challenge. This person is having a day right now, is having a time. So let's see if I can engage them in the best way I know how. Even just like, hi, how are you doing today? And so many times they'll open up and say, I'm having a rough time, or I'm okay, or I had to work extra time, or sometimes people will open up to you. Sometimes people will tell you everything, and that can be a double-edged sword. But sometimes a person in a very short span of time, and it's not just small talk. It's like, hi, how are you? Fine, how are you? And then, it is something that will change a person's day
Oh,
completely.
oh, absolutely.
uh, and they've had customers come through who are and in a rush and don't have
Grumpy
time to,
pants. I call
grumpy
them grumpy
pants
pants.
customers who don't have time. And no wonder you've got, I always say that, and that's a different kind of pay it forward. I was with a friend, and we went to see a show, and there were tickets there in her name, but her name was spelled wrong, and she got totally bent out of shape because her name is an unconventional spelling. And so she got had attitude with the woman in the box office, and then the woman in the box office gave her back attitude, and then she started unloading on me, and I'm like, wait, hang on. The fact that your name on an envelope was spelled incorrectly is just happenstance. And now that you decided it was something so huge, and you unloaded on her, and then she may go home and unload on her dog or her husband or her kids or her friend. I always want to say the buck stops here, you know.
Well, yes, that's what most people don't understand is that, like, especially this period of time where you're walking into the seasonal period and people are kind of like on edge already because they're running, they're thinking about Christmas, they're about Thanksgiving. I mean, this weekend we were talking about both those holidays. We're talking about
Mm.
who's going to cook, what's going to do. So we're kind of organized. Well, I'm a pre-planner. I like to plan things out. So I have a, at least I have an idea. Like it doesn't have to be locks, like like tight in the box, but it just, as long as I have some type of boundaries where I can play in. But most people, what they do is they just will rush, and what you're noticing out there is people are having a hard time themselves, and they could be struggling, like you said, or they could be, or they don't have family nearby, which my mom has identified brings them in. So those things when you can actually sit there and can actually, you know, if you just, like, one of the things that I learned is that, you know, maybe just understanding of other people's positions, like I don't know. I mean, I just, sometimes we just kind of like, we're so into ourselves or into our situations that we kind of like forget.
Well, we've got a lot of times we're going around because we're so busy. We breathe quickly, we speak quickly, we move quickly, we think quickly. We don't give ourselves time to slow down because we're busy, and people working more than one job, and family, and just their health, whatever. So we're just tunnel vision. We're trying to get her done. And in in that in those moments, we're not acknowledging the periphery. and someone in your periphery may need just the kind thing that you said,
Right.
or the fact that you bought someone a coffee. I'm not saying go out and buy, someone a coffee, especially if that's a burden for you. But um,
But the
there's
gratitude. So here's the other thing, though. When people used to do things for me at one time, I had like even online, people would say, "Hey, that's great writing. That's great." It was really hard to take those compliments. It was hard. It wasn't easy because I was thought like, yeah, but they're just words or something. Like, or I mean, I downplayed it enough to kind of like think it was not worth, like I wasn't worthy of it. Does that make sense?
100%. As a performer, anyone who came to see my shows or and came backstage or saw me in TV or film and would, say nice things like, oh, yeah, it's not, thank you, thank you. And somebody grabbed me one day and said, no, you have achieved this. You are talented. You did a wonderful job. the they told me it seemed like false humility, and I'm like, well, it's not false. It's, I feel a little bit embarrassed. How come you're embarrassed when someone gets something? They came to see you in a musical, you made them laugh, they sang along with you, they tapped their feet, you took them out of their world for 2.5 hours or 3 hours, you gave them something very, very valuable. So in exchange for that, they wanted to express to you, like you with your words and your books and your poetry and your articles. And this, doing this together
Mm.
is just say thank you so much. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled when people write me anything that they got from, and I'm like, wow, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the
Well,
time to
thank you.
give me that feedback.
Well,
Okay.
likewise. No, but one of the things someone told me is be careful how you say thank you. Meaning, you could say thank you and you can ruin it for the other person to continue doing the right thing. Or it depends on that person, right? So that person might be very like they say, "Oh, you're doing a great job," and you say, "Yeah, thank you," and then just kind of like shut it.
Oh,
Yeah, and walk
thanks.
away.
Thanks.
If you
Thank
don't
you.
do if you don't do the right thank you, which is I was taught, what happens is that person may not ever do that again because they think
Yeah, if
it.
you're dismissive or
Yeah,
if
you're doing,
you're,
and they think, well, okay, if that's the response, then why am I doing this? And
or,
I don't mean you have to go now.
false bravado,
Yeah, but
then,
also
of
I do
course.
not need. You don't need to do a Academy Award saying thank you.
No,
Trying to win an
no,
Oscar or something
no,
like
no.
that.
It doesn't have to be a
No, but
speech.
you got to be very careful how you say thank you, and sometimes you don't have to be a very elaborate.
No.
I'll use me as my experience. Now, some people will write some very profound reflection about what I wrote, how they got, how it was touched, and it was, sometimes I just sit there and I go, I don't even know how to respond to this. Like literally, like today was a couple times where I was like, I really don't know how to respond to this because it's sometimes it's overwhelming because not that it's bad. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but when I'm getting this, I'm like, wow, I touched this person in a way that I didn't expect. And they
Mm,
resonated with the words. They
mm,
resonated. They see themselves in that situation, which is my goal, is to put that
mm,
out there. But
mm.
I wasn't even figuring that out as a person. So I'm kind of like going, oh my God, how do I respond to this and say thank you without ruining what they said?
Or seeming insincere,
Right. But I don't want
or
to be
or
not,
knee jerk, like
I'm
thank
not trying to be,
you. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm not trying to be dismissive. But I just
No.
wanted them to kind of, I wanted to give them their space because their space meant enough to write on my post. I want to give it back to them in a way that I honor that. And that's when that person said, you have to be very careful how you respond and you got to be very careful how you say thank you because, how does it come across can be very rude or or whatever. And
or
it's not
seem dismissive or
yeah,
seem, yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Because a lot of times you'll see, and you and I read a lot, and you read across a lot of social media. I only read on or watch on a couple, two more. And you can tell, especially with some people, not everyone, because I've had amazing experiences with very well known people. I'm not afraid of anybody who's famous. I was in the business for a long, long time. I
Yeah,
don't elevate people. I don't, I'm not worthy. They're human beings too. Some of them with much bigger egos than others, but the
right.
ones I've reached out to and the ones I've worked with, very humble and feel like what they do is a privilege. And if it weren't for us watching, reading, listening, they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. They would be doing it into the void. They would be writing for just themselves. And yes, you can have a diary or journal and just write for yourself. And that may be your only goal, which is fine. But a lot of people, and I experience this a lot here, they write because they would love the feedback. They would love
Yeah.
they would love people to feel there's a relatability, a commonality.
Well,
They
that's why,
understand what you're going through. They have
but
been there, or
yeah,
they feel
that's
for
why I do
you.
a lot of restacking. That's why I do a lot of
Yes.
restacking, because they are like, even though they're my readers and followers, I look at them as, like, I think today I posted something about posting on other people's chats, and it just got really annoying. This one guy
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
was just,
And I didn't get that because I've only been on a little less than 4 months. I didn't get
yeah,
that
yeah,
you had to actually do something so
yeah.
everybody and their brother didn't try
Well,
to
I didn't know
hijack your
about.
chat.
I was like a little annoyed at times when I was like, this is so. Um, I was a little annoyed by it because I was like, I know you're a small creator. Like, I'm still a small creator too, but you're a small
Yes.
creator. Like, you have maybe 200 followers, and this guy comes in who has like 2,000 followers, and he hasn't added any value to the conversation other than just his post
On your chat.
on your chat.
Oh,
And
okay.
you go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
his,
Yeah.
and you go through the entire thing, and it's just not a healthy. There's a place to do that. Like, I would not get too upset with someone who had maybe 10 or 15 or maybe 100 followers or subscribers, because they're just new into this and they're just learning how to do this, and they probably seen these guys do it, so they think that's okay. Um, but turning, when you that's where this one particular guy who does this all the time, and I haven't blocked him, but I'm ready to block him. But I don't follow people like that. I think that's just silly, and I really don't respond to people who post under my post. Now, I will not delete it. I'll just leave it alone. But in my chat, you are deleted and you're blocked, because that's really your sacred home with your people.
With your subscribers.
Right. Your
Yeah.
community. You're trying to build that community, and I think that's a
You're
sacred place.
communicating,
Yeah.
interacting with your group of people. You're asking them questions,
Yes.
um, and looking for responses or interaction
Right.
for your questions, or say, hey, could you take a look at this and give me feedback? Or if you like it, give me a like. But then when someone posts on your chat, not a response to what your chat was,
Right.
not they're not furthering the conversation. They've stopped the conversation and inserted their own agenda.
Exactly. Exactly. You
I'm
said
not
it better
grateful
than I
for
did.
that. I'm not
You
grateful for that.
you did better. No, but today was one of those days where I just said, I just had enough of the nonsense, and I just became a better. I became a leader in that situation, and I gave everyone some information. Hey, if you want to stop this, this is how you change the
Right.
thing. Now. So that's how you do that. I just want to get to the comments here quickly.
Yes, because
So
we're coming up on the hour.
so Gary said a sweet.
Hi, Gary. So nice to see you
Oh,
again. Thanks for being
Gray,
here.
Gray, my
Oh,
dyslexic.
oh, Gray. Oh, yeah,
Gray,
Gray.
My
Gray's a
dyslexia coming out.
oh,
Uh,
hi, Gray. Good to see you. Thank you for
he said a
Gray.
sweet
I love
friend.
that name because it pops. It pops. So yeah.
Well, I get it mixed up. So, um,
Okay. Well, you've got a pass. You've got dyslexia, so and I can't read. I can't read the comments
okay. Well, he
on the
said
restream.
a sweet friend sat with me at mass this afternoon, and I'm literally there by myself. He was there by usually there by himself. So a good friend sat there and talked. That was amazing.
Oh, oh,
Ashley said you two are amazing, or both are amazing.
oh,
Um,
Ashley, thank you.
and then Gary said,
Gary or Gray?
"Gray, thank you." I have a hard time commenting on something when someone wrote because I don't think I'm qualified. So I understand that feeling. I do understand that. Uh,
Interesting.
and I think
Well,
that for me, I think what it
that's
is, I was never a good student, so I never got the praise.
oh,
I always got,
oh.
you need more work. You need after schoolwork.
Well,
You need a
get
tutor. So,
oh,
yeah.
well, great. You know what? The world now with social media feels that they are very, very qualified to comment on anything and everything. And someone saying what you just said is incredibly refreshing. And everything I've ever read that you've commented on anything I've posted or the show has been really succinct and very valuable. So please don't doubt yourself because you do have a lot to contribute.
I think that's the Gen X. We were raised by boomers and they just kind of just didn't always hand out compliment. My parents never handed out compliment. If they did, it
My
was very
parents rarely talked to me much less
rare.
compliment.
They only
I
said
mean,
go
I
outside.
had to learn everything on
Yeah.
my own, and you know how much trouble you can get in when that happens.
Hell
So,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Woo.
Yeah, I got in trouble.
Carry on. Any more comments?
Uh, going back to Gray, literally just had a conversation with a friend and said, "This, yeah, none of my existence on Substack is about aggregatum. Oh, I can't pronounce that today. Algorithms.
Algorithms.
Yeah, that's
Algorithms.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I hear
really
that,
just
Gray.
today. Today I can't really pronounce words today. I really just want to be part of a community. Oh,
This is
of
clapping in
writers
sign language. You'll see me do
who
this
might
all the
influence
time.
me, mentor me, and who I can also inspire. Yeah, that's exactly it. And then,
You're in the right place, Gray. Us all together.
so we're all from like these are all great comments. Thank you very much, guys. And Ashley says, Kaz, I agree with you. We are in a elite group of writers. So there you go. Yeah.
And not in a snobby elite way, in a very
Well,
genuine,
if you were raised Gen
authentic
X, but if you were raised Gen X the right way, you didn't think you were a snob.
snob. Well, that elite, well, see, so many words have so many definitions, and
Yeah,
elite in my life experience, elite has gone from well trained, like an elite athlete,
yeah.
well trained, top of their to this is an elite club, and you're not elite enough to belong to this
No,
club or this group, or
no.
you're not an elite enough writer, you've
I
not
think,
published
but
300 books and
I
had all
think
the accolades.
I think that's where
Sorry.
our attitude comes with people who are famous. We just treat them as we're just another person.
I have always, and let me tell you, I have met some big heavy hitters. I've worked with heavy, two of the most famous directors in the history of film.
Yeah.
And they were the kindest, nicest, could see the whole picture. I'll tell you one because I hate to name drop, but it's so important because here's the Godfather connection. I worked with Francis
Oh,
Ford
good
Coppola.
God. The golf started again. Oh,
Godfather.
okay.
I don't think that Robert Redford should have played Al Pacino's role. Anyway, I worked with Coppola at Zoetrope Studios in San Francisco, and
Yeah.
Zoetrope, if you know it, it's a corner
Yeah.
building,
Yeah.
and you go down into the basement. And I got hired from a voiceover recording to do an experimental radio show with him. All of us were working actors and performers, but we were all unknowns,
Yeah.
and he treated us all like we were the most well-known, talented performers. I can't say enough about how wonderful that man is and how it was to work with him. I can't even, no, it was just, and to even the fact that I worked with him, I sometimes have to pinch myself, and I get, goosebumps, gooseflesh, because that experience could have gone so awry. And for me in my career, it has. Directors who like to insult and like to demean you, thinking that will get a good performance out of you. Anyway, yeah. So,
So Juliana said, I have appreciated this episode because it has led me down the path of exploring my self-concept regarding many
oh,
things. Thank you both for always expanding the mind in an organic way.
that
Gray
means a
said,
lot.
Gray said, and I don't know if he's doing this as a joke, but he basically said, I'm afraid to tell you all, I never saw The Godfather. Can we still be friends?
Of course. It is not my favorite film, but John being Italian, and we talked to the guy from 100
Being part of the
Tomatoes,
mob.
who I
No, I'm just
love him, who's coming back, you guys, 100 Michael from 100 Tomatoes, or as you
yeah,
say,
tomatoes.
100 Tomatoes. He's coming back twice between now and Christmas time, eh?
Yeah, so
So
yeah, eh?
we're gonna have
We forgot to say A throughout this whole thing. A.
well, yeah, and we're going to talk about favorite holiday movies. I think the second time, but the first time, what are we going to talk about with him? The
So the
first,
first one, we're gonna talk about the new releases for the holidays, just to kind of go through what's
the
coming
new
out.
releases.
Yeah,
So
the
the
new
second
release.
time, what are we going to talk to
We're
him
gonna talk
about?
about classic movies for the Christmas, which ones he
Okay,
thinks would be watching. Now, obviously, we have our own favorites, but he might come out and say, yeah, and we also want to know if Die Hard is really a Christmas story.
is Love Actually a Christmas Story?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas story? I say
And then
yes.
next week we have Mark Willis, who comes in after
Yeah.
that, after our collaboration, and his story. Oh my God, his story. When I read his story, I was like, wow. I mean,
Well,
when I read
he's
getting
talking
stabbed,
about, well, he's talking about partner abuse, right?
yeah. And part of the story where he actually sat there and got stabbed, and she's looking back and forth, and it was not not a healthy situation, I would say, and just how he described it, how he then all I didn't want to, like, again, I want to honor that piece, and I wanted to continue to basically, like, one of the cool things about notes, I sidetrack people, but I've been posting all these pictures with a little bit of comment on it, and what's been organically working has been people been putting little poems underneath it. Like, they'll start
That's
with something,
so beautiful.
and I love it because I've been trying so hard for the last year. How do I get notes to start creating poems on a whim?
Oh,
And so people, there's some this is one girl out there just recently, she started writing poems underneath it, and I have to restack it because it's cool, it's awesome, because and and the reason why I post those is because it inspires me to write something. Not, I don't want to write a whole page on it, but I look at a picture and I go, oh, I remember the reflection of myself through that water. What does that look like?
yes.
Or
Hmm.
the Alpha Tower, like, hey, I remember walking there. I remember feeling it. This is my memory, kind of like jogging that on. And where I get all these pictures, some of it are my pictures. Some of it I have um, a group that I go to that has all these pictures. Um, So, but the cool thing about that is actually what we're doing in notes is that we're actually collaborating, not really collaborating, but kind of like doing that. And it's kind of cool to see that, because that's one of the things I wish we could have done more of earlier on. But now,
Collaboration.
yeah, but not collaborating, but just taking on, like, I always thought, like, if I could do this or do that. Another thing I really want to do on Substack, and I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm trying to figure this out, is like I did it a couple times and it didn't work out well.
Mm,
Maybe the writers weren't the right, like, or maybe the audience weren't the right audience at the time. I think I got enough. I think we have a lot of creative writers that are on Substack now and that have the juice
yes.
flowing all the time, which is,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
this is the reason why I do this, is to help my juices flowing. Because if I don't do that, and if I if I stop in a period of time, and I'm not like, if I don't do anything, I kind of lose that rhythm. But when you're in that rhythm, you want to stay in that rhythm. So that's how notes helps me. And and that kind of, and this is how I operate. But I want to kind of create a story on Substack, on notes, kind of like going through it. And like, I'll do a piece, someone else will come in and do a piece. Like, they'll do a paragraph. Like, it's almost, what was that? Remember the old days where you used to send a letter to somebody and they finish off a paragraph and they send it back to you and you send out, I don't remember what
Or
that's
send it
called.
to someone else. Yeah, I want to do that with poetry,
Okay.
with different, I mean, you definitely with stories do that, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would like to do that with poetry, where I would start a poem in a particular genre. I'm actually going to do it, and I've done it before and I love it. And then I ask someone or whomever decides to continue
Yeah.
the next stanza in the same genre, and see at the end
Where it
what
goes.
we where it goes, what we end up with. So I'm definitely going to do that. So watch out for that, everyone. If you write poetry, John, you said you didn't, but you
No,
do.
I'm not really a
Uh,
big book guy. I kind of just
well,
do.
but it's more prose. I mean, you're not right there. You know how many genres of poetry there are. I mean, there are so many genres. Some I never heard of that are so bizarre and out there. And I want to try them all. I want to try every single one of them, whether they're successful or an abject failure, because as I started out as a poet, first time I was published at age 14, and I've always, even though I've written television and books and all sorts of stuff, I'm a poet through and through. Prose, long form, short form, haiku, senryu, ballad, block, found poetry, on and on and on and on.
So the
Yeah.
thing I want to do, like, so actually, I was reading one of my old stories about 2, 3 years ago, and it was very, like, I don't know, maybe 500, 700 words,
Mm,
and it was very compact and very short. And I was reading, I was like, at some point, I decided to go long form, like a thousand
mm,
words plus. Like,
mhm.
that's my goal, is 1,000 words, which is about a 7 minute. If you do the audio, it's about a 7 minute read, right? And so I was thinking, so that I don't know what changed. I think when it came from Vancouver, discovering Vancouver, I, I looked at it and I was like, I really like to explain more of the situation, or kind of put more, I don't know, more wordy words in there, and kind of like,
More meat
yeah,
into it.
like just
Yeah.
kind of like describe more of what's happening, but keep it short enough so that people can do a quick read and then move on. um, when I first started, I look at my first writings and I kind of laugh at myself. I was like, but I look at that as a stepping stone of how far I came. And people think, well, you do all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but how I got here was years of like, there is a I heard this quote a couple years ago. It takes 10,000 practices for a violinist to play it right.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I played violin. I didn't get to 10,000. I quit. But yeah, it does.
Well,
Well, no matter what it is. I mean,
No,
as
Ashley, not 1,000 words poetry, 1,000 words plus story.
story.
Not a
Thousand
not
word. Have I
poetry.
written 1,000 word? Well, I do have one poem called a prose poem called "The Porch" that is 4 pages long. So I have to count and see if I don't think it's 1,000 words. I forgot, but yeah.
That was cute.
Well,
I don't even know
next
what
week we've got Mark
we got.
Willis, and we're going to talk about and we I gathered so many statistics that shocked and broke my heart about intimate partner abuse, domestic violence, and I broke it. I think I sent it to you. I broke it down into male, female, um, uh, gay, uh, gay man, lesbian, or gay women, gay men, and then trans community. And the statistics are shocking, and especially where men, heterosexual men are concerned, the statistics are rising for them, where it was 1 in 10, it's now 1 in 9. For women, it's 1 in 5.
Hmm,
Um, in the trans community, it's 1 in 3.
about there. It's around.
Yeah, and
It's very high. I mean, it's just, and you know, and I keep thinking about. I keep thinking about, when I write about these. Like today was another one about the COVID. I use COVID as a medicine.
mm,
Recovery.
mm.
And today was a really good. I think. I forgot that I wrote it actually. Sometimes you write things, you're like, oh, okay, I'll put that out, and I post it, and I'm
I'll
like,
come back to that at
I'll come
another
back to it,
time.
and I totally forget about it, and I'm like, oh, I wrote that, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not that I remember it, I just don't remember when I post it, because I post in advance because I have
Mm.
to, because I do
You
want more.
schedule, right? Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
I have to because I got to write 5 stories a week. And in those 5 stories a week, you got to find content. You have to find something, and it's not trust me, it's not challenging. It's just having time and then posting it. So I have to post in advance so I can always keep ahead of things, like 3 months ahead. Um,
Right.
the thing. So today was about that, where I isolated myself for the pandemic, and through that, you sit
Mm.
there, you go through
Heavy stuff.
some moments, and
Yep.
but that was like but there were some other moments like the year before that was happening. Yeah,
2019.
no, it was like, yeah, 2019. Yeah, so there was like a
Yeah.
couple major things, and I ended up going to London for 10 days solo trip, and then
Oh.
and then that's where, then walking in, I went to Vancouver, came back. That's when COVID started again. But
Mm.
throughout that journey of maybe a year to go to COVID, maybe that was like, there was some low points in those 6 to 7 months, I would say. I mean, for a year,
Mm. Mm.
that that took me into a road that I never would expect to go down. It was hard, it was tough, and when you deal with, and and trust me, when I was maybe 2 3 years ago, I would never opened up the way I do.
Mm.
I would not say certain things. I wouldn't write certain things. I was very protective. Maybe
Mm.
before COVID, maybe I was a lot more protective. I would
Mm.
I would complain, definitely, like any other guy would. But who do I complain to? You know, I don't have
It's
anybody.
four walls.
Yeah. So that's how it goes. So
Yep.
it's so when Mark comes in doing our interview, I'm really excited to see that, or be part of it. It's really, I want to see his point of view, how he overcame his challenges. And I think this is a subject that I don't think a lot of people talk about. And I think we need to have more of those conversations. I think it's just guys, and I don't think guys want to become soft. I don't want to say the other words, but I don't think they want to be soft. They just want to be, they want to be men, and they want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to be told that they're good enough. They want to be told that they can, what they're doing makes sense. But it's also, it's, they're, when you grow up, you're kind of told, okay, you have to get married, you have the kids, blah 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 blah. I don't think that's the same in today's world,
Mm-mm,
but
not at
growing up
all.
as Gen X, I think Gen X and Boomers and the older generation had that. That
Oh
was their
yeah.
meat and potato kind of lifestyle. So it's it's I think especially in this month, which is about domestic violence month and all mental health and all
Intimate partner violence. Yep.
yeah, all those
IPV
other
and
things that come in. And I think we have to be, I don't think we could be 100% there, but I wish we could be at least 50% there, where we don't have to see people taking their lives for whatever reason, um,
or being
or
physically abused.
abused.
It's not fun.
No, because men do get abused, and I'll tell you how it becomes in that situation where um, you don't want to hurt the lady. You're told not to hit. You're told, if you hit her, you're going down. You're the one that's going to be that. So if they're physically violent towards you, it's you get a lot more to prove as a guy. And I always laugh at. I had a judge laugh at me. I had an ex-wife who was 5'2", but she'd throw punches and throw stuff at me. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm 6'4", 200 plus pounds, obviously a bigger person. And the guy said, "Well, why can't you take care of yourself?" Well, if you knew the law of aggression, if you touch somebody and you whip them out and you kind of like stop them and throw them away, like trying to get, now you just created assault. Now that could be 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is there's a particular martial art that is all about deflecting the punches, deflecting the whatever it's a stick or whatever.
Yeah.
It's deflecting more than actually landing a punch or a counter punch or anything like that. But yeah, next week is going to be very, very
Yeah.
interesting. So everyone, please join us again. Tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, strangers. We'd love to have you all.
So
And
I
yeah,
want to,
as just what you said in the beginning, what John said in the beginning, if any of this has affected you in any way, please, we are just giving you our experiences and our personal knowledge. And if you're struggling, please go to your health professional, who that might be. We're not here to give you advice, but we will try to impart our experience, and maybe that will give you tools to take away with you. So yeah.
yeah. So I just want to touch, there was a couple of people that just want to comment on,
Okay.
Juliana said in training, I was saddened to read that it takes about 7 to 10 times to leave a domestic violence situations. This
Yeah.
information has been helpful because I can assist and approach the person with more empathy. Um,
Mm.
Ashley said, "I'm terrible. Sorry for that. It takes real men to walk away." Spark said, "Hey, sorry." Uh, just want to look when I tell you these stories. I just want to kind of just wrap, kind of get you guys going. I don't write these stories for me to kind of heal anymore. I've kind of gone past that realm of life, or that I kind of moved that. I tell these stories because I want this to be helpful for other people, and I want them to see it as a beacon of hope, a beacon of possibilities. Of
You're not alone.
you're
If
not
you're
alone.
experiencing any of these things
No.
that we talk about, you're not alone. And community is one of the most important things, whether it's you have one person or you have two people like us that you come and visit every week. We're here. We're
Yeah,
here.
and and we're not trained professionals by no means, and we don't expect ourselves to have all the answers. But if this does resonate, whatever, how you feel, even through my writings, they're really meant to give you a thought that you can get beyond it, because I'm here today. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
there was some moments where I didn't want to be here. uh,
Mm-hmm.
so what I'm saying is that there is hope. There's if you breathe and you can look up the sky, you can do it
Watch
yourself.
the
And
wind through the
keep watching.
leaves.
because
Yeah.
I because good men, all good men, stand up tall, straight, spine back, chest back, and all good men takes a step forward,
Mm.
because that's how you create change. So
Yeah.
if
You, we
yeah.
just need more tools in our toolbox. And I'm not trained as a psychologist, but I have multiple certifications in meditation and Reiki and Qigong, and I'm working in hypnotherapy now. And I'm, like I said earlier, I can only give you the tools. I would have students come up to my meditate to me in my meditation classes and want to share their pain and their suffering and ask me for advice, and I don't give it. What I've given you is a tool to work with on your own.
Yep.
Take it or leave it. But yeah, I that's something you have to work out with a accredited
So
professional.
with that said, I want to try and turn this back into more of a light conversation.
Turn it back into a light conversation.
So
Yeah.
we touched
Turn
on a
the
lot of
beat on
topics.
around.
One of the things I want you to so cats, what Kaz, what are you writing right now? Are you doing anything?
Oh, I do. I have a very long article. Well, I have a book that I'm writing.
Okay.
It's called the I forgot already. The Perfectly Messy Guide to dot dot dot. And it will be a series. It will be a series of books, The Perfectly Messy Guide to whatever.
Okay.
And,
Cool.
and I do have an article coming out about aging, and it's called My Age is the Least Interesting Thing About Me.
Oh, that's awesome. So on your Substack, what do you focus on Substack? Are you just writing anything, or
No,
and
about what you radiate first is what you attract.
okay,
And you must, work on knowing yourself to be your best self, to radiate what you want to receive. That's my
right.
big message.
So are you posting like once a week, or is it just randomly?
You mean long, well, articles? I'm usually once a week, but I post in notes pretty much every day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's great. And for me, I'm actually these are actually came out.
Oh, I forgot my books upstairs.
Haha. So this came out a couple weeks ago. This one also about a week or so. It's the Earn Not Given
Earned, not
and
given.
the Quiet Miracle. I've got a lot of good feedback on this one.
Good.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
about this is just to kind of give everybody an insight on this. This actually was born through the conversation of my daughter.
Keep talking. Keep
Yeah.
talking.
And so what happened was we were in Pennsylvania, there's Bethlehem, PA, and we were driving through Bethlehem, PA. I think we were going to New York. Can't remember. But we were sitting there and she's like, Dad, and she's like 5 years old. And she goes, Dad, Jesus is born in Bethlehem. And I turned around and I said, yeah, that's right. He was born in Bethlehem. And she says, oh my God, he was born in PA like me. And so I thought it was funny, and the boys started laughing. But out of that cute little moment, um, I was kept thinking about it over and over, how this book could be written in the modern day version. And so so it kind of like inspired me. Last year I wrote it. It didn't really resonate well, and as I was editing, and as writers, you kind of need some other things that kind of distract you a little bit, because after you get bogged down for me, creativity, I need multiple things happening in my life.
Mm.
Maybe it's ADD. I don't know what it's called, but I just call it creativity. So as I was editing Earn Not Given, because I was stuck on chapter 1, I decided to pull this up to get it ready for the Christmas break. And throughout that, that's when I rewrote it, and it was all modern day Bethlehem, and I found Nazareth and a couple other places. New Jerusalem is in that area there. So I've actually turned this into a 4-part book of that person's life, and it'd be all modern day Jesus. What would Jesus would do? Where would he be crucified? All the stuff that goes through it. So I'm kind of working through those books right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Where your other book, Earned Not Given, Earned
Oh,
Not
earn not
Given.
given. Yeah, earn not given. Another cool part about this, I was reached out by there was a person that came out. She emailed me the other day or a couple months ago, and she said she wanted one of my articles because it had to do with business and corporations, and she thought that would be a kind of good book for her audience. And it's a worldwide business. A lot of business people are out there, and um, she said, give me some material on it. Gave it to her, and she now have an article going out, and I can't tell you who it is yet until we've signed paperwork and all that. But that's in the mix, and that's going to go around the world to a lot of business owners. And Earn Not Given was a story that I created from the early days of divorce, going, I lost a job, all that. You read the book, right?
Of course.
You were my editor.
2 or 3 times.
You were my editor. So,
Hello.
but the cool thing about the book, it goes through all those challenges, but then the person finds a mentor and 2 or 3. And as they're going through, he started learning how to be a better person and finding himself again. So
Yep.
it's more not all about sales and businesses. It's really a self-discovery of rediscovering yourself
It's
throughout.
a personal story. It's a
Yeah.
really personal story.
Yeah.
All right. I'll quickly. If you're into
That'll-
meditation, my book, Brain Hug Meditation, is poetry, short stories, and meditation exercises. My book, Sing Song Crows and Alphabet Soup, is poetry on life. If you read this book, you know exactly who I am. And then my last one is Drink Nature, poetry on nature.
I have that one.
So he has that one. Hey, you still haven't left me a review, dude.
I thought I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll
Oh,
look and see.
that's a really important thing. We got to talk about that. So anybody listening out there, if you are writers and you have books, please share them. And
Yes.
what we all should try to do is go and do a review on wherever that person is, because I tell you right now, that's how you're going to help sell more of your books. Now, there's different ways you can do this. I set up a little funnel myself where I give a little bit of of the book. You can do a quick read. The offer is, I'll give you this if you go do a review. The reason behind that, it helps with the sales and aneurysm and aneurysm.
Algorithms and
No,
aneurysms too.
Amazon.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
The
So
algorithms in Amazon. Yeah, because then if you get 25 reviews
it
or
boosts you.
more, they start to recommend your book to other
Yeah.
people. But yeah, so
So yeah,
reviewing people's books is really important.
so if we could do something, and I don't know how to set this up where we all kind of like do this as a group, because one of the
Well,
things
I need to read them all.
oh, you need to read it. Yeah.
I want to
But
read them all. No, I do. I love reading other
did you leave a
people's.
review for me then?
Not yet.
You're giving me a hard time about your
Well,
review.
being the editor, I feel like I'm a bit biased. I'm
That's
like,
true.
yeah, not only do I love his book, I helped edit it. Yeah, verified purchase, verified review, go away. But yeah. All
So
right, we need to wrap this
yeah, I
up.
know. So let's try to make this simple. I don't know how we're going to do this, but I really want to build up a book committee or a community of some sort, where we share our books or rough drafts or whatever we look like, or we put it on Substack, something. and we all kind of go there, read it, and then we find it on, and then you give us a link to Amazon, and we go to Amazon and give you a review. I think that's how we can help each other grow, not just here on Substack, because the more reviews you have here, the better it is. But you can grow financially that way too. So
Hmm.
I want to help you grow, but in return, you got to help each other. Help each other. If you help me, I help you. We all win in a little bit that way. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so anything else?
Well, we
Yeah.
started with Canadian Thanksgiving and food and made everybody hungry. We went through, and now we're to how to help each other grow. I think we've done a very good job
Yeah.
today. I'm sorry. Our guest wasn't able to make it because her child has the flu, but I think we did just fine, John.
Yeah, I'm looking to reschedule her. I think her story is
Good.
really good. I think it's
Hmm.
it's the positive stories of divorce, and I think we
Yes.
need more of
Yes.
those to be an
Yes.
example of what we can do better. But other than that, I thank you everybody that joined. We had like over 40 people on here. That's awesome. And we are also broadcasting on YouTube, Rumble, X, and
Did you do
oh,
Instagram too?
no, I didn't do Instagram. No,
Okay.
we forgot to do that when we came in. But
I don't know. I don't Rumble. I've got to check Rumble out. I always want to call it Bumble or
yeah,
something. And
it's a new
that's
It's well,
new platform, newer platform. Okay.
no, it's not a new platform, but it's a platform.
New to you.
No, no to you.
Very new to me. I still don't know what the heck it is. All right.
It's like it's
Thank you.
it's like YouTube. All right, hey, thank you
Ah,
everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week at 4 o'clock. And our guest will be
Eastern
Mark
time.
Eastern time. And all the Canadians out there, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
And if you haven't caught all of it, it should be back up here shortly, and you can rewind and watch it from where you left off. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
See you, John.